thing for humans to want to believe something, and you can't really talk to them about it. It's pointless. I'll give you an example. So I had written something to the effect of, the kid, didn't buy his gun, and he's not old enough to buy a gun. I personally think that he should do time. And at the end of it, I said, I am a gun owner. I'm a gun owner. My father had me signed up for the NRA in first grade. I was a member of the NRA for years, which I wouldn't join that organization now. Now, so the person that, after I read this, I was pretty clear. He said, well, I guess you're not a fan of the Second Amendment. How'd you gather that? I'm a fan of laws, right? And the Second Amendment. And, there's a reason why someone that's under 18 shouldn't be allowed to buy a gun. But to this dude, anything goes. A 4-year-old should be able to buy a gun. That, to him, makes sense. I mean, back in 1776, I doubt that a 4-year-old should be able to buy a musket and couldn't. So, what I'm saying is, people, they want to believe something so bad, so it doesn't matter what you say or write. It doesn't. They want to believe this. They want to believe this, so it doesn't matter. You could, spell it out to them and say, no, I said this. But to that guy, he didn't see it. I commented right after he wrote it. I commented. I said, what are you talking about? I put what I wrote in quotes. I said, I'm a gun owner. But no, not to him. I'm not a fan of the Second Amendment. No, I'm a fan of the U.S. Constitution. I think that it's a document that's, there's a lot of countries that, model their government after ours. But, as of lately, I don't know if they're probably, having second thoughts about that. I remember taking a Western civilization class at the Art Institute. And I remember debating this with one of the teachers about, well, you can't have, I forgot what we were, Machiavelli or something like that. We were talking about something. And I remember debating it with the teacher. I remember the teacher's a brilliant guy. And debating that, I don't think that it could ever take place in this country. This country could never be overthrown, blah, blah, blah. Our democracy is really solid. And he just sort of smiled and said, well, that's great that you believe that, but history shows that, great civilizations fall. They do. And ours is a young democracy. It's only, 1776? 1876, 1976, a couple hundred years. It's not been around that long. I'm making liver and onions, by the way. I took the liver, or I took the onions. I have them in a pan. I put it in the oven because I don't really want to cook. I'm just wiped. I got my windows blocked so that no light can come in, so the green screen can be used. But hang on, let me check on something. I'll be right back. Move, Buck. stuff, which is liver and onions. What's up, Troy? I didn't want to, like, usually I'll saute them, you know, and I just don't want to stand over. I don't want to stand over a pan and cook. I'm just sort of drained, for lack of a better term. So what I did to make the liver and onions is I'm doing them in the oven. I'm not breading them. I'm not doing anything like that. So I put some chicken liver. What I did was I put some. I don't want raw liver, dude. That's gross, Troy. What I did. What's up, Mr. Lee? What I did was I put some bacon and chopped up an onion, and I put it in a pan in the oven. And then so I cooked the bacon because liver doesn't have any, it just doesn't have any fat to it. This chicken liver doesn't have any. So I cooked, got the onions sort of translucent, cooking the bacon in there, and then I brought the pan out because you can't put something cold in Pyrex that's hot. It'll shatter. So I'm letting it cool off. His name is Sam. I'm letting it cool off, and then I'm going to put the liver in there, and I'm going to put it back in the oven again, and then it'll be done. I wish I had toast. I'd like to eat it on toast. But my dog gets raw meat for meals. You are an idiot, I can already tell. Gets raw meat. You don't even probably have a dog. Anybody that says that doesn't know what they're doing. You understand that they need calcium, right? Or you're gonna make your dog real sick. Your dog gets raw meat. Okay. All right, genius. No, they just give him raw meat. Okay, kid. Use chicken, bone-in chicken, kid, or you have to add calcium. Get raw meat. Anytime anybody contacts me about the raw meat diet, I'm like, oh God. It's always somebody that has no idea what they're doing. That's a kid talking BS. Just remove his comments if you see him. Spout his mouth off again. Your dog gets raw meat. Okay. Meat, bone, and fat. Okay? Meat, bone, and fat. Eat raw meat, but I'm a human, not a dog. I'll eat sushi. I like raw fish. I'll eat steak tartare. I'll eat, what is it, capricolo? Is that what it is? The shaved raw beef. That stuff's real good. Or is it carpaccio? It's carpaccio. With like some olive oil, maybe some capers or something. That's pretty good. I like it a lot. But so that's what I'm doing because I don't have the energy to do it. I don't have the energy to saute it. So I'm just gonna throw it in the oven. It's probably cool enough that I could do that. You're an idiot. We can tell. Back to that. But we can talk about that. You can read, you just choose not to. I'm not saying that I sit around reading books all day. I got stuff to do. But if I had say I had a point of view, right? And I disagreed with somebody's point of view, I wouldn't discount what they said and say something else. Like that's just, they were lying. They were lying. They wrote, like, so you're not a fan of the Second Amendment. I already said that I was a gun owner. So they're just trying to, like, put in their fucking lie. They're gaslighting shit. You know. So I don't know what they think. So other people see it and then they discount. You know, well, I'm not going to even read what he wrote or something. I don't know. But I mean, it's essentially like, it's not essentially, it's this line, because I didn't write, I'm a fan of the Second Amendment, but I said I was a gun owner. Most people that own guns are fans of the Second Amendment. But I'm a fan of laws, and I'm not really a fan of a 16-year-old kid getting a gun. He did a straw purchase. He couldn't. He wasn't old enough to buy the gun, so he had somebody else buy it for him. He was asking for it, you know. He's not old enough to have a gun, yet he's walking the streets with one. The deal was that he had somebody do a straw purchase, right? He didn't break any laws, and he was 17, not 16, and now 18. No, he did break laws, Troy. He did break laws. He was 17, okay? He was 17. You're not old enough to buy a gun at 17. It was a straw purchase, meaning somebody else bought it, and then when he was 18, they could have transferred it to him, but that's not what they did. That's not what they did. The guy who bought the gun is being prosecuted. You can't buy a long gun, okay? You can't buy a shotgun or a rifle until you're 18. Kyle didn't buy the gun. No, he didn't. Somebody else bought it for him. It's called a straw purchase. So that would be the same thing as if, like, some kid walked up to me and said, hey, will you buy me beer? And I bought the beer for him. Well, they weren't legal enough to buy it, but I bought it and gave it to him. If Kyle and this guy who bought the gun, they would have transferred it when he was 18, no problems. It would have been totally legal. It is not legal what they did. It is not legal to do. Should have been locked up until he was 18, and then they transferred it. But they didn't want to do that. Why the guy took a chance like that? That'd be like, when I was a kid, we would ask people to buy beer for us, and people would do it. I would never do that, man. I would never buy beer for some kid. Gun, yeah, I know the gun, I know it was dropped. That still doesn't mean that it was illegal, or it was legal. I understand it was dropped. It was dropped today. I watch the news. I also understand that there's a judge that's a D-bag, but it wasn't legal. You can't be 17. Troy. You can't be 17 and go into Walmart and buy a gun. You can be 18, okay? You can't be 17 that I know of in any state. As far as I know, it's 18 everywhere. You could check, but I don't think that the state that he was in, okay? So when I was a kid, I had guns, right, under my parents' house. I had a 28 gauge when I was in first grade. I had a 20 gauge when I was in second grade. I had a 22. But my father bought them, and they were really his. They really weren't mine. Do you understand? My dad always said, don't ever take that up to the school and show anybody or anything like that. But they were guns, and they were my guns, and I kept them in my room. But I don't believe the state that he was in. I don't know where he came from. It happened in Wisconsin, but he traveled across state. So I really like, I don't think that you are correct, Troy. As far as I know, every state you have to be 18. So you can't buy the gun. You can't own the gun. The gun possession wasn't illegal. That's why the judge and the state both agreed to remove the charge. Listen. They're in court. They're in court. There was a charge against him for a reason. Just because it was dropped, you know. I'm not a lawyer, but you cannot go and buy as a 17-year-old. I don't know. Check it out, Troy. Go on the internet and check it out. Find out what states you can buy a gun at 17. Google it for me right now and tell me. I'm not making up. Why would they? Troy, Google how old you have to be to buy a gun, to buy a long gun. Okay? Google that and then get back to me in all 50 states. I'm sure most states it's going to be 18. Maybe there's a state you can be 17. I don't know. I'm not making it up. You can't go in New York State and go up 17 and buy a gun. The prosecuting attorney said in the closing statements that he wasn't old enough to buy the gun. That makes it not legal. The guy that bought the gun is being prosecuted. Just because something was dropped, you know, there's bigger fish to fry. You know, and you understand the judge, why the judge is doing certain things. The judge in that state, just so you know, the judge in that state elects judges. And he is the judge that's been elected the most out of all the judges in that state. Oh, I hope there's no riots too. But that's the situation that we're in, and we have a judge that's grandstanding to a certain base. So, sorry, Troy. I'm you know, find out. Maybe you can buy a gun at 17 in Texas. I don't know, but I don't think you can in Wisconsin and whatever state he came from. I don't know what state he came from. But I don't know. As far as in Missouri, you had to be 18 to buy a shotgun. When I was in the military, I wasn't old enough to have my shotguns until I was 18. I could be in the military, but I couldn't have my own personal shotguns on board. So, are you old enough to buy? You definitely, in most states, to buy a handgun, you have to be 21. But to buy a long gun, you can be 18. He wasn't 18. I hope Troy's on the internet finding out what states you can buy a gun at 17. Maybe Alaska, maybe Texas, maybe South Dakota. I don't know. Maybe North Dakota. I don't know. But I'm just telling you the truth. You can't be 16 and buy a gun. You have to be 18 to purchase shotguns and long guns. Thank you. That's right. You have to be 18 in all states, I think. So if a 17-year-old has a gun that he gave money to, he gave somebody money for that gun, that's not legal. But they're prosecuting the guy that sold the gun. I'm not Googling it for you, Peter. I've read the Wisconsin gun. Whatever. You have to be 18 to own a gun, to buy a gun. Yes, all states, thank you. All states, you have to be 18 to buy a gun. Okay? They're going after the person that sold the gun. They're not going after Kyle. Just telling you, Troy. Oh, you read all the laws. Well, then you would know that you have to be 18 to buy the gun. I don't know. It is a mess of a case. The kid should have stayed home. There are contradictory and complex. You got to carry a gun barrel length 16 inches. We're not talking about that, Troy. We're not talking about that. We're talking about ownership. You cannot buy a gun, a long gun, until you're 18. Okay? You cannot buy a gun until you're 18. That's what we're talking about. It wasn't legally, he had no right to it. He had no right to it. He gave somebody money to buy it. It's like this. Troy, look at it this way. Say you bought some 16-year-old's beer. You're going into a liquor store, you're buying yourself beer. They say, hey, dude, will you buy us beer? And you buy him beer. Do they prosecute the kids? Or do they prosecute you? They prosecute you. He can't legally buy it. You can't legally buy it, Troy. I don't know why you're so adamant about this guy. I didn't even know that you were a gun owner. But the guy, the kid, shouldn't have been walking around with it, certainly. It was a straw purchase. He paid somebody to buy it for him. They're not going after him, they're going after the person that bought it. The beer argument is a straw man because the kids can't legally possess or buy beer. Kyle had the right to legally carry the gun that night. Well, I had the legal right to go hunting with my guns, right? I did. But I didn't own them. I didn't buy them from my father. He gave Troy, the problem is he gave the guy money. No, Troy. You can disagree with me, but you are just wrong. You are wrong. I understand your point that, like, they legally can't have the beer, right? They can't have the beer. Kids pour the beer out. But in first grade, I could legally have the gun in my arms. I could go hunting with it. Right? But no, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the money transfer was to a guy that bought him the gun. That's why it's considered, no, Peter, you are wrong. He has a legal right to... He has a legal right to carry a firearm. Okay. Just some random gun? You do understand that he got the money together to buy the gun? If his father bought him a rifle and said to his son, I'm going to protect... I don't know, Troy. Just like you and your dad are buying you guns. Yeah, they were gifts. This kid gave somebody money to buy him a gun. You don't think that's... You think that's the same as my father? It's not. It's not this. Oh, you agree with the straw purchase? Yeah, that's wrong, right? So So if it's not legally his gun, right? It's not his gun. That is why they wanted to prosecute him for that. It seemed like the easiest charge to get him on, too. It's not. It shouldn't be his gun until he's 18. But then what? He does this like, come on, man, come on. Oh, just give me my gun. I already paid you. That's why they're going after the guy that bought the gun. Who would do that? What an idiot would do that? Like, say there's I can't imagine, like, some kid in the neighborhood's like, you know, hey, will you buy me this gun? You hold on to it until I'm 18. Okay. Not that I would ever do that. Let's say hypothetically I did, but then, okay, you do it, and then, like, the kid pressures you into, like, come on, I paid for it, come on, just give me the gun. The gun was supposed to be in a safe until he was 18. They didn't do that. The day he went to Wisconsin, he bought a sling for it so that he could play Army Man. It's absurd. By the way, I don't really see too much of a difference between that gun and a deer rifle. I don't. They're aesthetically different. That's it. Or they're just, it's aesthetics you're talking about. Although Kyle's gun could hold 30 rounds, which seems absurd. In this state, you can only have an 8-round magazine. In that state, you could have 30 rounds. He had all 30 in there. It's crazy. It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. You loaded it up. You need all 30. It just boggles my mind that his mom drove him there over state lines with his gun. With his gun. Let him out of the car. I'm going to go protect somebody's property. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And the place that he was going to protect, all the cars were put up. Like, they weren't even out there anymore. Like, he didn't have any ties to this person. It wasn't like he was going to protect his dad's property. Where is his dad, anyway? But, it's just a freaking mess, man. It is. It's a freaking mess. His excuse is that he was going there to protect property, and to help people because he has some medical training of some kind. I thought the prosecuting attorney made a point. He said, so while you were there, somebody twisted their ankle and you wrapped their ankle, right? You wrapped their ankle, and also somebody had a cut too, and you helped them. And then you used your gun and blew off somebody's arm and killed 2 people. It's quite a medic. It's quite a medic. I'm sorry. I can't see, as a gun owner, I can't see that it's positive. It's a positive thing. It isn't. It isn't a positive thing for anybody that owns a gun. Most normal people would stay away from something like that. And if you were going to go to the protest, some kind of protest like that, would you really take a firearm? Would you? I wouldn't. I thought about going to some of the protests in New York City, and it was when COVID was going on, man. I didn't have a shot. Thank you, Pigeon Lady. So I hadn't had the vaccine yet, and I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. Like, should I go or should I not go? Do I want to get sprayed with mace? Do I want to get that crap in my eyes? And 30 is not plausible. No, it's not. It's not. It's ridiculous. It's like when you go goose hunting, you're allowed 3 shells. Your shotgun has a plug. You could take the plug out and it can handle 5. And the only time that you can put 5 in there is when you're shooting blues, snows and blues, because there's so many. Other than that, it's a federal offense to take that plug out. So you got to leave the plug in. It's only 3. It's only 3 you can shoot. seems like 3's plenty when I've been hunting. It does. It seems like plenty. I just I don't see the necessity for 30 rounds. And like this state, like I said, is like a lot of states. They have like a 8-round magazine. That's fine. You're shooting targets. You get 8 shots. That should be plenty. That should be plenty. 30 rounds, really? I don't know. I just as a gun owner, I have a problem. I've talked about this before. I have a problem with the whole idea of the assault rifle for people that haven't been in the military. I have friends that have been in the military. They own assault style rifles. I got no problem with it. That's the gun that they were trained on, and it makes a lot of sense to me. It does. It makes a lot of sense to me that they would want to own that gun. But I have a real problem with the person that owns the assault style rifle that wants to go out and play Army Man, which is clearly this kid. He wanted to play Army Man. So they asked the kid, like, well, what was your, why did you buy that gun in particular? And he said, because it looked cool. Really? It looked cool. And that's what it seems like a lot of people that buy that gun, they're buying it not because of the way that it functions, not because they learned on it. It's because it looked cool. It looked cool. So that's the gun that you talk this guy into buying the gun for you. New York State has lots of laws pertaining to who can own a gun. I don't really have a problem with them. I think that it makes it less apt that there's going to be problems for actual, people that are responsible. This kid clearly wasn't responsible. He makes gun owners just look bad. Just makes us all look bad. It's just a horrible situation. There's no problem with, like having an 8-round magazine and a rifle. Why do you need more than that? Target practice or hunting? You're never going to get 8 shots at a deer. You know what you get? You get 1. You get 1 shot, and if you can't hit it on that 1 shot, you shouldn't be deer hunting. You got a rifle with a scope, and you need more than 1 shot, you got issues. You can't shoot. You can't shoot. It's nonsense to be selling rifles with that can hold 30 rounds. Nobody in their right mind needs that. Now, realize that my father had an ATF license. He had a lot of guns. And he had this attitude. He had this attitude about guns, which was, like, I remember asking my dad. I said, like, I would go with my dad. We owned the family owned a slaughterhouse when I was a kid. And I remember going to the Old Monroe Bank with my dad. He had this Lincoln Continental. And I'd sit in the front seat with him. And underneath the passenger seat was a handgun when we were going and doing. He was going to the night deposit box. Because, he's taking his kid with him. But my dad was, fairly confident and probably thought well, the chances are nothing's going to happen, but he wanted to be prepared. I remember asking my dad, like, I forgot what he had. It wasn't like, maybe he had like a 38 or something. I said, well, what's up with that gun? And he said, well, that'll stop a man. And then he had a night, like one time we went and I said, what's up with that gun? And that'll stop a bigger man. You know, my dad was the dude that, like, when I was 5 years old, this is a true story, the first gun I shot was a 44 mag. A first handgun I shot was a 44 mag. And, you know, my dad was a firm believer in that handguns are meant to kill a human. That's what they're about. So he takes us, like there's kids from we're at this, like chicken farm that they owned for a while. They had like this chicken farm, like a factory type thing. It had like there's these big Butler buildings with 100,000 chickens in it that were laying eggs. They were egg layers, and then they would take the chickens and they would sell them to Purina, and Purina would put them in dog food, and so we were out there, and there was this slough. There was duck hunting out there too. And I was about 5 years old, and there's a lot of duck hunting out there. And anyway, to make a long story short, there was like kids from the neighborhood. There was my brother was there. My little brother wasn't born at this time. And there were like Melissa Layton. There's a bunch of kids there, and my dad had that 44 with him, and he goes, let's you want to go shoot the gun, kids? And everybody was like, yeah. And of course I was hot on that because I was like my dad, you know. My brother wasn't like my dad. I was like my dad. And my dad knew it. And so he goes, okay, come on, Peter. And my mom right away, no, he's too young, Mike. No, he can't go. Oh, he's fine. And my mom said, no, he's too young. He can't shoot the gun. My dad said, okay. And he's like, come on, Peter, let's go. Right? We get over the hill, and we're shooting at this slough. We're just like sort of pot shots into the water. And everybody shot, and then it's my turn. He goes, come on, don't tell your mom. So, I mean, this is a big gun. I couldn't even really hold it. I couldn't pull the hammer back. My dad had to pull the hammer all the way back. So it was a revolver. And I remember, like, I was having trouble holding it up. So my dad's behind me, helping me hold it up. And I shot it, and bam, you know. And then I was like, let me shoot it again, Dad. He said, no, we'll shoot it later or something like that. And we come back over the hill, and of course, I'm grinning from ear to ear. I thought it was the coolest thing in the entire world. And my mom's just like, Mike, you let him shoot that gun, didn't you? Oh, no, I didn't, did I? No, he didn't. Well, I'm just smiling. This is the dude that my mom said, go downstairs, your father's going to spank you. Right? And so my dad goes, okay, so I'm just going to go like this, and then you just like scream out like you're being spanked, okay? And then, so I'm doing that. My mom comes down and is going, I know what you guys are doing. You're not spanking him, Mike. He was bad. You're not spanking him. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Didn't I? Ah, Mom, he did. He really spanked me. Like that, you know? She's like, you guys are ridiculous. And she went upstairs all pissed off. I can't remember what I did. Probably nothing. Probably wasn't any big deal, you know. My dad, you know, I was my dad's son. I was a lot like him. I was a lot like both my parents in a way, but I'm more like my dad for sure, you know. I'm real emotional. My dad could be sort of calm, you know. He sort of like, there were times that like I would be like, oh, he's gonna be pissed off, and then he wouldn't be. Hunting and fishing, You know, with the lab, like, my dad was just like, he didn't give a shit. He was, you know, I couldn't do anything wrong. I was out there freezing in a duck blind with him. Where my older brother had he didn't want to go do it. He had no interest in that whatsoever. I remember we went goose hunting once with my brother's friend, this doctor, Dr. Dillard. And so he had like a place that we could go goose hunting. We went goose hunting, and my brother went then, but like that was only because like his friend David's family invited us and all that. But like my brother was not into that. He didn't want to go hunting and fishing. Certainly did a few times, but like, you know, like my dad bought the 28 gauge for my brother. My brother was just like not into it. My brother's ultra liberal. Grew up to be a pacifist. He's a pacifist, I'm sure. He'd probably turn the other cheek, where I won't, you know, don't hit me, because, you know. So me and my brother were totally different. My dad, and the Mike Cain story. I was in a fight with this kid. It was about second grade, and we were in the backyard. And I didn't know that my father was watching, but my father watched the fight. And in the fight, I was winning. And I was winning. But by the end of the fight, I was tired, right? So I got the guy to say uncle or whatever, and I got up, and then the kid, like, tackled me. Right? My mistake. And my father explained it like this. He said, this is why I know my father saw the fight. Because like about a week later, 2 weeks later, something like that, I'm in the car with my dad. And my dad says to me, this is what he says. I took this to heart. Right? I used this when I was younger. Peter, if you ever get in a fight and you got the person down, hit them again so they don't want to get up. That's what he told his son. Hit them again. Make sure they don't want to get up, because they might get up, you might have trouble with them. That was my dad. That was my dad's advice. Some things he taught me, you know, he told me that really made sense. That is true. That is true. I don't advocate fighting. Hey! I don't advocate that. I'm just saying. If I had a kid, I wouldn't want him to get picked on. And I'd probably tell him something similar. You know, obviously my dad had enough guts to not get involved. You know, let the kids fight their own battle. That was my dad. That was my father. There's no way it would have been like, hey, break that up. He knew it was two second graders. What are you going to do? Kill each other? Probably not. What's the worst that's going to happen? A lesson's going to be learned. That was my dad. My dad was pretty awesome. I liked him a lot. I loved the shit out of the guy. He was pretty cool. I loved the shit out of my mom, too. But, you know, it's a lot like my dad. I think my mother had problems with it. Because she didn't really get along with my dad that well. But my dad they got divorced. My dad ended up getting remarried, stayed with the woman for, God, a long time. He was married to Susan for, God, he married her when he was in his 50s, early 50s maybe. And then they just got along great. You know, those two together were like, I'm glad my dad found somebody, you know, that he could. Hey, Khaki. Hi, Khaki. That it really did. It worked out great. She's a lot younger than my dad. You know. She passed away a few years back. She was all right. My dad passed away, and then she passed away like a couple years later, even though that she was a lot younger. Um, she ended up getting a brain tumor in her brain. She got some kind of blastoma or something. Lingered for about two years, and her whole plan, like after my dad passed away, was like to move to Florida. She liked Florida. I don't blame her. Who doesn't like Florida? There's palm trees, there's beaches, it's warm. Never happened because she got cancer. Passed away. She's all right. I liked her. Hi, Khaki. Khaki. Yeah, cancer sucks. It does. It sucks. Then you'd find a cure. What was it? Richard Nixon? The war on cancer? You know? When was that? 1972 or some shit? The war on cancer. They still, it's gotten better. But there's still, like, a lot of shit that, like, but a lot of things have gotten better, My my dad's wife's kind of cancer. It was just like, it wasn't like one that went well. Like, they couldn't really do much. Then I had a friend who actually got some kind of cancer. There seems to be doing fine. I guess it all just depends on the type of cancer too. Some are more treatable than others. Yeah, Susan was awesome. I really liked her. I did. I liked that woman. I miss her. I miss my dad. Dad, he passed away. He got some kind of thyroid thing, thyroid cancer. People get when they're old, some kind of, 65 and older. I think he might have been on medication that pushed him into like having that cancer, actually, because my dad was overweight. I remember talking to my mom. My mom was like, "Oh, he's got to be diabetic." Really? Oh yeah, type 2 diabetes. Have you seen the gut on your dad? You know, like that. Which my dad had that gut his whole life. Like he was built like a silverback gorilla. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, he had that. Where if I weigh 145, I can't have that. I don't know. He probably did. He probably was, and that's what I think. I think that they put him on one of those things for type 2 diabetes that made him more susceptible to that thyroid cancer. I don't want to talk about this. Wish I could change the subject. Everybody's experienced this. You just have to cross your fingers and be positive, but when somebody's older, it's harder to bounce back, Younger people seem to be able to, take more punishment, for sure. I mean, my friend, is fine. I know several people that are just, did chemo and everything and seem fine. Met multiple kinds of cancer. It's all a bummer, man. We're on this planet for so short of a period, and it's sort of like a series of tragedies, and then in the end, where do we go? The interior of the sun? I don't know. I don't know where we go. I don't know what happens to us. I have a tendency not to believe there's too many religions on earth to explain our mortality. If all of them are right, then all of them are probably wrong. My brother is clergy, and I remember talking to him, and I remember I was talking about like, yeah, I bet it's more like aliens or something, like, you know, something like that. And surprisingly, he said, well, you know, that's not too far off from what I think, you know. Um, it's a bummer, man. It's a fucking bummer. This planet's difficult. It is. It's freaking difficult, you know. Trying to pay for food and pay your bills and shit. Like, if you have your health, you have everything. Trust me. I'd never been more miserable than when I had those hernias. And that was just hernias. They were fixable. But I mean, it was like, God, it's nothing compared to other people. I know. I know that. It's nothing. It's people that are born that don't even get out of the hospital. They don't even live an hour. You know. I have no idea. I have no idea why we ended up being like this. Like if we have to sit around and think about our mortality, you know, like, wouldn't it be better to be a dog? Unless you get a master that's just like an owner that's a total D-bag, you know, that would suck. Like a duck. Khaki? You like it? Khaki likes it. She likes hanging out, don't you, Khaki? You're a good bird, dude. You're cute, dude. She's cute. But, you want to come out, Khaki? Let me get Khaki. Buddhists say life is suffering from what I understand. Well, it is. It is. It's a bummer. The fact that we gotta come up with money to fucking pay for shit. It sucks. It sucks. But even if we didn't, say we lived in 1800, right, 1802. You're living here. You're living in New York State, you know, in this area. You had to go out and hunt for your damn food. It's freezing. You got to go find a deer. Or maybe you have a cow or something, but it would be difficult. It's just as difficult. It's like this constant struggle. It's a constant struggle. It doesn't matter what time frame you live in. It's a constant struggle to keep yourself warm, fed. You know, it's bullshit. I mean, maybe there's people that have a lot. You know, there's people that are born fucking rich. You know, they got it easier in some respects because they don't have to worry about money, but that doesn't mean that like their life is carefree. Certainly not. I mean, they have health issues. They have, you know, they have stress things that you know. You know, it would it's not gonna, but money's not gonna buy happiness, but what it does is it buys you the freedom. It buys you the freedom to have to worry about buying your food, paying your bills, getting duck food, you know, that, but you would still have other shit, and I bet that it's the case that like, so I got to worry about money constantly, right? I got to do that. But let's just say I had a lot of money. It'd be something else, right? You just sublimate your pain into something else. Like, it's part of being human is being miserable. You know, like, there's always going to be some kind of problem. Whatever it may be. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know, maybe if you had a lot of money. I mean, to the broke person, it seems like, you know, it's like, you know, 90% of the people that are in this chat or whatever, like, that's our problem. because it's money. It's money. I mean, it's all nice and dandy to say, well, everything would be fine if you had a few goats and some chickens and everything. This idealistic Disney-like view of like, you know, what would make you happy. But when it all boils down to it, that might not make you happy. We might just be fucking hardwired because we have the gray matter to be unhappy. I mean, a simple life seems sort of better, certainly. But I would assume that a simple mind makes things a lot easier because, you know, like, she's happy, right? She's happy. She doesn't know of her own mortality. She thinks I'm always going to be here and everything, which I will. I'll be here for her. But like you're dealing with another human, I mean, like, you know, that's the, what factor is that? That's the, when you deal with other humans, it's like, it's the unpredictable factor. You might go to a gas station and somebody give you shit. Just, you've ever met anybody that, like, you instantly don't get along with them? I have. It's been a long time since I've run across that, but that exists. Like, you both instantly take a dislike to each other. Now, you'd see that more in Brooklyn and New York City, but I came to the conclusion years ago that you never know what that person has gone through in that day or in general. So you need to sort of cut them slack. Like, you just say to yourself, well, they're having a bad day. You know, you don't know what's going on in their mind. You don't know the money problems that they have. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, just sort of give them some slack. Kicky. I love this dog. She's awesome. Are you looking at the cat? She does this. She does this sort of like affirmation that pigeons do. Right? Like, if you do this to her, she likes it. It means you like her. You know. She's really an awesome dog. Aren't you, Kag? Kaggy. Kaggy wacky. Love the crap out of this dog. She, I think that she had Giardia, and I think that she had Giardia when I got her. Giardia, like, dogs get it, you know, birds can get it. Because she was having, like, real stinky poops. And then so I treated her with metronidazole. No problem. No more diarrhea, no more stinky poops. And I thought about that. I thought about that when I got her from Tractor Supply. I just wanted one duck, so I gave 5 ducks away and kept her. Right? But I thought about that. It's coming from Tractor Supply. Maybe you should treat her, because she's coming from like a whole mess of ducks and like probably a situation that isn't real clean. So she had a strain of Salmonella, Peter. No, I thought Giardia. I don't think Salmonella. I think she had Giardia. I put her on metronidazole, and you know, I had Peaches had Giardia a long time ago. That's why she became a plucker. Now with parrots that get Giardia, a lot of times it makes their skin itch and they start pulling feathers. So I had restarted her on Giardia when I took her to a specialist in the city. I found Peaches in a pet store. She was naked and bleeding, and I paid but I had to pay to get her out of there. Peaches is a Goffin's cockatoo, and I suspected Giardia. So I took a poop sample in, Giardia, but I already had her on metronidazole, and so we treated her for the, hey, get out of there, Bucky. We treated her for the amount of time that you need to like get rid of Giardia. Giardia is a anaerobic thing. It can live without oxygen, so it's sort of like it'll stay in the animal for a long time, and a lot of times it doesn't show up in the stool sample. So I cack. But rondazole is usually what you use with birds. It's the same thing. Rondazole, metronidazole. Rondazole is what they sell commercially for pigeons and parrots. Probably ducks. I think I have her on metronidazole, which is metronidazole for pigeons, but usually you see it as rondazole. But you can treat your own animal. By the way, you know that, right? Like you can put your pet on antibiotics. Just know what you're doing. Pigeon Lady does it all the time. She knows this. So if you race pigeons or Amoxi, I got Amoxi too. But like a lot of times people are taking the birds and like periodically, if they're outdoor birds, they're giving them antibiotics because there's shit floating around. There's brown sparrows that have salmonella. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. Like don't think if you're what is this about Ossofros and capitalism? I'm talking about ducks, idiot, and birds. We're talking about ducks and birds, dummy. I forgot what my point was, but a lot of people, like with chickens, like they'll give them periodically. They'll give them antibiotics because they're outdoors, and they'll get them, stuff from. See salmonella from like wild birds. So that's what I'm saying, that I'm trying to say is like if you have a dog and you think that you're doing the dog a favor by getting the dog like free-range chicken or something from, Farmer John down the street, not so good. Go for the factory farms, because the factory farms, what they do is they inoculate the egg, so before the chicken's even hatched, it's not going to have salmonella. And those factory farms, man, the factory farms, Purdue and Tyson, they don't use hormones, they don't use antibiotics. Why? Because they don't have to. Those chickens that you buy at the store, they live about 2.5 months, and then they're slaughtered. That's it. They don't need to use hormones because birds grow real quick. In 30 days, a pigeon goes from like the size of a teaspoon, it can sit in a teaspoon, to looking like a normal pigeon. Birds grow real fast, so there's no reason to give them hormones. People will talk bullshit constantly about the reason not to give the dog raw diet. I get it, it's raw chicken. The first time I started doing it, it sort of made my stomach turn watching the dog eat. Hey, I want to put my liver and onions in. I invested in a microscope. It's so much easier to diagnose now. Really? Really? Yeah, I always wondered like why you were doing fecal testing. Why wouldn't you just use like one of those? I'm just curious. Why wouldn't you just use one of those products that like is sort of like treat like a 4-in-1 product, PL? I mean, I'm sure that you're more the expert than me on this. You're dealing with a lot of wild birds. Why wouldn't you just use a 4-in-1 product? You know, you're taking care of the worms, you're taking care of the antibiotic, you're taking. I was using. Oh, so you will use 4-in-1, but you just kind of want to know what they have. What do you do? What do you do about PMV? You got PMV over there, don't you? Same thing that I do. You just put some towels in a crate and hand eat them, right? But the wood pigeons had more than 7 strains at once. Oh, I see. Do you what do you do for PMV? Same thing that I do. Just hand feed them for 4 weeks, and then they start getting better. You got PMV in England, don't you? You got it here. You do have that, right? PMV virus? Pigeons? Come back to me, pigeon lady. Tell me. Antibiotics don't help with that. That's a virus. You got to hand feed the bird. Inoculations for PMV and care for ones that have the PMV. See, they don't sell it here. The inoculations. It takes 1 year to recover. Yeah, but I could spin them out of it in like 4 weeks sometimes. You know, to where they're like they'll be touch and go like the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then they start coming out of it. I found that if you roll up towels, don't let them go to their side, roll up towels, put them in a crate, and then they're in there, like they can't move a whole lot, and just keep. I like to use like black-eyed peas, you know, something that's hydrated for sure. I always find that that's easiest to like be popping that in there. Give them a little calcium while you're doing it. Pop them in there. It's a pain in the ass. You can't just like, you gotta watch them with the water too. You gotta hydrate. You know, like if you don't, you know, they might drown. They're so screwed up. What's up, one Sean Bond? That PMV is a bitch, but I will say this, that they can kick it. They can kick it. I use a towel over the top of the box, helps them stop spinning because their depth perception is off. Well, I do that too, but like what I do, like if it's falling over and stuff, I'll roll up towels, right? So I'll make like you know, they can't really walk, so I'll roll up towels so it's like a real, like a hallway, sort of. Like they can't fall over. Something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I just like, so they're in this little chute. So I want to keep them upright. Yeah, like a stabilizer. That's right. I found that was hugely helpful. Hugely helpful. Because if they fall over, they tend to like, you know, it's not good. So I sort of stabilize them into that position, you know, and just keep checking on them constantly. That is one of the times that I really lose sleep, is like with PMV. That's a bitch. But boy, they can kick it. If it's an older bird, they can really kick it. Hi, Khaki. Khaki does this just like Remy does. They do this. They love it when you do it back to them. Right, Khaki? Khaki's so cute. What a cute bird. She's as cute as Remy. Aren't you? Khaki's eggs are freaking awesome. They are freaking awesome. I couldn't eat Remy's eggs, but Khaki's I can, definitely. I give Khaki a lot of extra calcium for sure. I don't want her having soft eggs. I don't want her getting egg bound. But her eggs, delicious. Don't need to buy eggs anymore. Khaki cranks them out right and left, don't you, Khaki? About one a day, one every 2 days sometimes. Here, you want me to pet you, Khaki? There you go. Khaki whack. Love Khaki. I wanted a white duck, but I'm totally fine with this this brown duck. You know, They're quieter than the white ducks. I don't find this noise annoying at all. Khaki. She's not annoying. I'm gonna go put my liver in. Hang on. I wish I had some toast. Right, Khaki? Wish I had some toast for the liver. But, you know, what are you gonna do? I'm just like, I did make headway with baby today, which was great. By the end of the day, she was doing exactly what I wanted. Tomorrow, we go out and do the same damn thing. Yeah, it's good. Which is, she needs to chill. She needs to really chill out with the dummy launcher. She can't be, I'm gonna take off after it. So I think I got her where I want her. I'll probably go out and do exactly what I did today, which is either with the starter pistol, or at the end I was using the dummy launcher itself, but without the dummy on it. So, yeah, baby rocks. You're right. She's real nice. Typical pit bull. Watching that thing, pet dog jump in the air and shit like a deer. God damn it. It's crazy. She's really gonna be a great retriever. She is. She's awesome. Hang on. She's high drive for sure. I gotta start working her with one of the dogs. I think it's gonna be Billy the Hedgehog, or Gus, or Tonka, or all of them. I don't know. My neighbor's dog was out there in the field. She wasn't like being, you know, she wasn't going after him or anything. She was preoccupied, but she was preoccupied with my one. The wind was whipping, and it causes excitement in a lot of dogs. Like, she's gonna lose this. But, you know, they see visual stimulation causes a problem. So leaves are moving on the ground, it looks like a small animal and shit. Well, it doesn't matter if it looks like a small animal. You're not supposed to go after it, baby. That's it. But I'll tell you, man, on those, the naked type dogs, like the pits, man, that plastic, they're not, what do they call them? The comfort pads? Awesome. Not having any problem with her. And switching into the nylon collar that E-Collar Technologies has, that's been a big hit too. I guess like a nylon, like kind of soft, it's a quick release type collar. But it's really worked out great with her. I want her going home. I don't want her mom having any problems with her. I mean, for the most part, she can't, you know, just let baby do whatever, but baby's healing better. I gotta order a service dog vest, start taking her in Home Depot or something. Somewhere. Not yet, she's not ready yet. We're behind, man. I'm behind. I would be farther along with this dog. Man, I remember there was like 1 week I was feeling guilt. I was, you know, doing something with her. But I'm like, God, this sucks, man. I got this stupid show coming up. You know, as the show gets closer, it gets more stressful. You know, it's not like I'm doing paintings. You know, it's just. If I was a painter, it'd be a lot easier. Because you got something that's moving, it has to run, not break down. So it gets stressful, you know. It's no big deal. I'd rather have that than be doing look at my painting show. I'm not going off on you painters, it's fine. I'm not one of those people. You know, the sculptor that thinks that paintings are a joke. This exists. Like some sculptors would say this is crap because it's not made out of steel or something. Like it's not steel and glass. You know, like it's this macho shit. That's not me. I like paintings. I'll paint. I like painting a lot. I like to draw. I like to do photography. I like it all. I don't care. But there's like this snobbery, like it's a weird snobbery that isn't me. I think about Jerry Kern's paintings, man, they're awesome. There's a lot of painters that really do awesome shit. There's painters from the past that do awesome shit too. Bruegel, Jesus Christ. He more than likely was in the interior of the sun. At least once or twice. I do think that. There's a couple artists that I think that are like, I don't know. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, one Sean Bond. I appreciate that. But, you know, like there's painters of the past that were just amazing. Caravaggio, well, he was a nut. He was a nut. Caravaggio's work was awesome, right? It's really awesome. He's violent, you know. You like to stab people, I think. You know, there were a lot of nutty ass artists. He was violent, though. He was a violent dude. Van Gogh was a nut. He was violent. He'd drink too much. He'd drink absinthe and be a lunatic. You know, if you have like mental issues, you don't throw gas on the fire by doing drugs and drinking. Could you imagine me drunk? Because I used to drink, and let me tell you something. I'm sure it wasn't a pretty sight. I wasn't like a violent type drunk. I wasn't. That wasn't me. I was more of the obnoxious drunk that thought that he was funny. But you know what I'm saying? It just makes everything more intense. Like, so you got Van Gogh, who was an intense dude, drinking absinthe, poisoning his brain with wormwood. That's not helpful. It wasn't. But then look at Tom Benton, too. You take an artist like Tom Benton, I mean, the stories of him drinking whiskey and shit, like, there's a lot of alcoholism, too, that was... Jackson Pollock, what a fucking wreck of a human being. What a fucking wreck. You know, he had issues, he had mental issues for sure. Lee Krasner, I don't think did. I think he did. I think Lee Krasner was like sort of normal and, you know, felt sort of sorry for Jackson. Jackson Pollock. You watch that movie. That Jackson Pollock movie. You'll get more of an idea of like what I'm talking about. The guy was a nut. Was an absolute nut. There's so many, like it's nowadays it seems like there's more of a there's been education about alcoholism and drugs, so I don't know if it's not as acceptable. Like, it isn't like, oh, he's an artist, like he can do whatever he wants. I think that the art community is highly tolerant of people. And I think that artists are highly tolerant of people's differences and issues. I think that that's fairly common. But, like, you know, you got an artist that's talented and is fucking doing heroin or something, you're not going to give them a fucking show. You know, you're going to try and get them in rehab. That's, you know, it's just a fact. It isn't how it was. You got an artist that's an alcoholic, you know. The gallery's making money from you. They're not going to be like, oh, just let them do whatever. They're going to try and get you sober, I'm sure. You can't produce stuff when you're fucked up. That's a fact. I know that for a fact. I produce more as I've been sober than when I was a drunk. Absolutely. When you're drunk, you sit around, you work on something, and then you sit around and like drink beer looking at it. Oh, that's brilliant. And then you wake up, oh, that's not so brilliant. You know? It's the truth. Van Gogh did not produce stuff when he was screwed up. Those were periods when things were going good. If you're fucked up, you can't produce shit. You can't make shit. So as an artist, I came to the conclusion, like, I gotta get sober. I want my production rate to be high. And the only way I can do that is by being sober. Without that, you know, I'm just sort of a wreck. And to me, like, production is like, that's what it's all about. I'm only here for so long. Make as much as you can. That's sort of every artist's duty as an artist. It's like, make as much as you can on this planet. I wish I had more money. I'd produce more artwork. It's a fact. I like training dogs, but which would I rather do? Oh, make artwork, trust me. Not that I don't, I mean, I'd still work with my own dogs. I'd probably still do videos using my own dogs, whatever. But would I be doing it professionally for people? Probably not. If I had my choice, I'd be making, you know, be building something for the Whitney right now. I'm just being honest. I like dog training. I wanted to be those three things when I was a kid. You know, comedian, artist, dog trainer. That's exactly what I did. But if I had my choice of sort of concentrating everything in one area right now, at this late in the game, I would art, for sure. I'd be making it daily. I'd be cranking it out. But that takes money, and you know, the art community, you know, they have a tendency to sort of I'm not going to say, but you know, it's clear like certain galleries are looked upon fondly by like certain newspapers, and certain galleries aren't. Certain artists are overlooked, and certain artists, you know, some people want to buy shit for above their couch. Some people, you know, it's just like, you know, there's a lot of artists out there that like produce work that come from wealthy families. That's a fact. That is a fact. I don't want to start naming names. I'm not saying that the work sucks, but I also know that they have shit produced for them. You know, if you're an artist and you want to design something and have it made, that's legitimate. That's fine. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. Here's an example. I've done that. Give you an example. Back in about, I had money for a while, right? I had some money, and I for a very short period, I invested in biotechs, right? I spent all the money doing shows, and I spent it on art. That's what I would do if I had a lot of money. I'd produce work. That's what I'm saying. So I wanted to be able to make more stuff. I wanted to make animatronics, and I had some people. I designed some stuff, and then I had this company, Circle, make it for me in Brooklyn. And what it is, it's these metal armatures, right? And then this motor you buy separately, and then I put the motor on there. So then I have a working armature and motor. So I did not, I designed these, but I didn't produce them. Circle, this company, made them for me. I went over there and I showed him. I said, "Can you make me something like this with a drawing?" And it was Chinese dude. Yeah, we could do that. How many you want? I spent a lot of money making these things. Now, some of it I put together. Like this. You say these pop, you know, I did that, but like they bent it. They did some spot welding for me. So I had a whole bunch of these produced. But I certainly wouldn't say, do a drawing of this and say, hey, could you make that for me? And that's what some artists will do. I know this one guy, we'll call him RP. And RP was like having companies make like poison ivy, like like molds, and then having the poison ivy made. Like he wasn't doing any of it. He designed it. It's legitimate. You can do that. It's his idea, but it's not very hands-on. Right? I have a tendency to be like totally hands-on. I'm not against having somebody produce something for me, but I'm certainly not going to have them like air pistons. How do I do air pistons? I figured it out myself. I bought some air pistons. I bought some actuators. I didn't pay somebody to do it. Is that acceptable? Yes, it is acceptable. It's acceptable. It's just not me. If I was working on paintings, okay, say I was a rich artist, right? I had somebody come in and stretch canvases for me and gesso them. That's one thing. But if I was like, okay, go put this image on there. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I'll show you a sketch, and then I want you to do the painting, the 10 foot by 11 painting. That's bullshit. People do that. They have studio assistants do their work. Cleophas, here's an example. Cleo, right? I didn't ask anybody to do Cleo up like this. I did it. That's my handiwork, and I fixed Cleophas when his mouth broke. I fixed him. Hey, King. Yeah, what do you want, Cleo? Nothing. Spit it out, Cleo. What do you want? Nothing, man. I know you want something, Cleo. Just spit it out. What do you want? Next time you go to the store, will you get me a cantaloupe? No, I'm not going to get you a cantaloupe, Cleo. He's always asking for this crap. But you know, I don't see anything wrong with it. There's a lot of artists that have a lot of money that produce some bitchin' shit. You know, Jeff Koons. I like his work. I think it's cool. Damien Hirst, I think it's cool. It's all expensive shit. Christo, all that stuff's expensive, you know? It's expensive to produce. And I'm okay with it. I'm not that sour. I'm not that sour. I'm fine with my life. He's full of shit. No, I'm not really full of shit. But I am. I'm fine. I'm fine with how things have turned out for the most part. I stuck with it. You know. Nice haircut, my guy. I'm not your guy, dude. You're not his guy. What? Why do you think that you're his? You like Cleo's haircut? Yeah, you like my haircut? Why are you commenting on a guy's haircut? Why are you? Why are you talking about some dude's haircut? That's like Tony, my guy. My guy? Where the fuck's he from, dude? Where are you from, and why do you like Cleo's hair? Are you like my hair? Whose haircut are you talking about? Whose haircut are you talking about, loser? My hair? You know what, Dick? Get out of here, you jerk off. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, dude? It's clear my hair's not cut. Okay? I don't need your shit. Thanks for the $5. Who was this? Are you selling t-shirts? Yeah, Mo Bucks. Yeah, Teespring, Peter Kane Dog Training. You can probably find a link underneath this video. There's still a lot of t-shirts, man. I did a design recently. I can't remember what it was. It sucked. Cleo wants to be on a t-shirt. I should be. I'm a fucking, look at me. I'm to die for. He thinks he's to die for. Yeah, go to Teespring. Hit the link underneath the this live stream. There should be there's t-shirts. Well, I'm always buying, or people are always buying them. I have hundreds of designs on there. I even have artwork on there. I have like prints you could buy. Yeah, shit. Shirts? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm selling shirts. Of course. I should put Cleo on a shirt. Yeah, the link is in the description. Thank you, One Sean Bond. I don't know, people are blind, I think. It's there. Maybe people blow it up and then they don't see it or something. I don't know. hoping that people are blind. They wouldn't be watching YouTube. They'd be listening to it. You know what I'm saying? God, that's good. I was a gangman. Cleo's not a... Cleo thinks he's in a gang. Cleo thinks he's in charge of everything, and he ain't shit. He isn't. He's afraid. He's afraid of Khaki the duck.
Well, I'm afraid that thing's gonna pick my eyes out, Kane.
It's not gonna pick your eyes out, Cleo. Besides, your eyes are made out of plastic and shit.
Whatever. It's a fucking bird, dude.
It's a bird, that's right, Cleo. It is, it's a freaking bird. It's true. I gotta put Cleo down. I can't think when he's here. He's so annoying. I wonder how my liver's doing. Let me go check my liver. That kid is gonna get off. I think he's gonna get off scot-free. I do think that. It's stacked. It's like that the judge is like, you know, clearly made, you know, that's helpful. I think it's gonna get off. The trial is a big joke. I think so too. Oh, thank you, Craig. That's really good idea from the Frisley, Louisiana. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's hugely helpful. It is. It's helpful. Thank you. I got to run over here and check my. Just moved my my shit. My liver and onions. Hang on. I'll be right back. To being done. It's like it's in the oven. It's just sort of like a big kind of blood pie. I mean, how can it be bad? Yeah, the mango shirt. It is sweet. You know what? I didn't put salt and pepper on it. Let me throw some salt and pepper on it. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. There we go. Got pepper in my nose. Hang on. Fuck. Jesus criminy. Make you sneeze. That's like from a Three Stooges movie or something, you know? But it's the truth. Black pepper will make you sneeze, like real bad. God damn. Not like being allergic though. Allergies suck. Hey, knock it off! Ever had blood pie? I've had blood sausage. I've had that. That's pretty good. I used to get that in like this Polish restaurant or like a place that had meat, like a butcher shop. It was really good. It was really good. I liked it a lot. I disagree with that sea urchin sushi. I think that's tasty. I like uni with a quail egg on it. Have you ever had that? Yum. You don't like that? It's pretty good. I mean, it looks like something you would see in Star Trek, right? It looks alien, but it's pretty good. You don't like that? I like it. I think it's real good. I like sushi a lot. I'm a big fan of sushi. I like sashimi. I'll eat eel. I just ate a can of it the other day, smoked eel. You know what I really like as far as sushi goes is giant clam. That giant clam is delicious. It's kind of chewy. It's got a real nice texture. Everybody always goes for like the yellowfin, you know. Yeah, I think it's good too. I don't see it around here, but I'd see that in the city all the time. I'd always go for uni and a quail egg on it. But that giant clam is really tasty. What else is good? You know, I had sushi recently that I made by what I did was I went to Wegmans and I bought frozen. I think it was not grouper. It was another one of those fish that's real real kind of tough, and it was real good. It was just frozen, and then I just cut it and used soy sauce. I didn't have any wasabi or anything like that, but you know, it was tasty. I liked it. I wasn't too sure about eating it. Like, you know, like, is it safe to eat? But it was totally fine. And I think that I read something like that a lot of sushi is frozen anyway. So a lot of the sushi that you get, it's frozen, and you know, what's the difference pretty much? Tubs prefer to use frozen, right? Because it's flash frozen. It's no canned rattlesnake. That stuff's horrible. Ugh. It was like the bones were. It was like it was cooked to death. You know how a can of mackerel or a can of salmon, how the bones are. That's how that rattlesnake was. It was really nasty, and it was in the smoked like sauce. It was really gross. It was really gross. What else is good? I like sashimi. I do. I don't need the rice. I don't need that. The rice just seems like not important to me. Salmon roe. You know, I'll eat roe of any kind pretty much. I like caviar. I like it real salty. It's pretty good. It's real good. Salty is the better. That beluga caviar just seems like it's overpriced. I've had it. I liked it, but it sort of seemed like you know those things that like is supposed to be like so good because it's expensive. That's the way it seemed. It just seemed like it was overpriced. Like not necessarily great, you know? Sorry about that. khaki. Anyway, what time is it? I've been on here for a while. I'm gonna go watch TV. I don't even know what that is. What is that? I've never even heard of that. Have you ever experienced being in a life-threatening situation? Yeah. I was robbed a bunch of times when I was driving a cab. It sucked. It really did. It sucked. It was not good. Anyway, yeah. You're welcome. Thanks a lot. And thanks for the super chats. It's really appreciative. I do appreciate it. Craig, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Fish eggs. Yeah, that's right. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Do appreciate it. Thanks for coming by.